Maori ki waingo tātou, a kia ora mai tātou.
Kia ora, thank you very much, and kia ora koutou, kia ora korua. Thank you for the welcome. I see you're well over time, so I won't keep you very long with what I have to say here, but Ngāti Whātua Rārake became aware of this kaupapa only a few days ago for the first time. We've not heard about it before then. So it caused us some concern, and I wish to highlight 2 points. I've circulated a letter, which will take as read, so I won't go into the detail of that, and I won't keep you for the full 5 minutes. But there are really 2 concerns underpinning my appearance here on behalf of Ngāti Whātua Rārake. As you can gather, I'm not personally Ngāti Whātua Rārake, I'm speaking on behalf of. This proposal really introduces a wholesale chemical weed control as the default management technique, and this is contrary to the kaitiakitanga of Ngāti Whātua Rārake, who are mana whenua over a large swathe of the Auckland area. The kaitiakitanga is really set out in our iwi management plan, where we have what I would call basically a presumption against chemical control wherever possible. But it's not an absolutely dogmatic stance. We do acknowledge that there are instances where chemical control might be appropriate. The key concern here is that there is simply not enough information available at this time to make an informed decision, certainly for Ngāti Whātua Rārake, and I think on the basis of the report that's been given to you, not for the committee either. The proposal's basis safe is touted on an organic plant-based compound, which sounds very nice, sounds very safe, but there is no real information as to the toxicity of this. Safe to say there's one throwaway line that it has an acknowledged toxicity for aquatic life. And that causes us a great deal of concern because the quality of water in Auckland has become a shocking issue, an issue of paramount concern, and something that Council is well aware of and is committing quite a lot of resource to start to try and resolve after a long period of gross neglect, really, it has to be said. So the Maori of the Wai is a paramount concern for Arake, and you're being asked here to really balance a judgment heavily based on carbon and climate impacts, as well as cost, and balancing that against the local impact on the quality of the water. And I wish to make this committee fully aware of the significance of that water issue, if you're not already. It's supported by the recent National Policy Statement Fresh Water Management produced by the government, where the central principle, of course, is te manaro te wai, which puts the health and well-being of water bodies and freshwater ecosystems as being the paramount concern in water management. There is one line in your report which acknowledges aquatic toxicity of this biosafe product, whatever it is actually chemically known as, nobody knows, it's not in the report. It's not taken further, there's no assessment of what that actually means. We do not see how a decision can be actually made in light of that. Now, the second concern, and in many ways the most concerning, is the fact that we found out about this on the grapevine a few days ago. We have not been consulted properly and have had no opportunity to engage. Now, Auckland Council puts a lot of store in building the partnership with mana whenua and managing the environment in particular on all aspects of the council. There are numerous references through the headline council policy documents, several of which I've quoted in the paper there. Perhaps I'll just quote one of them. Mana whenua, this is in the Auckland plan itself, mana whenua are key partners in the ongoing protection and enhancement of Auckland's environment. As kaitiaki mana whenua have responsibility for ensuring that the spiritual and cultural aspects of resources are maintained for future generations. This involves the ongoing protection of Maori from damage, destruction or modification. Now, we have not been engaged. We cannot make a call on that at this stage, and we think it is entirely inappropriate for this decision to go forward absent that thorough discussion with the kaitiaki of the whenua. So what I'm asking from you today is to acknowledge that there isn't sufficient information on the table. and acknowledge that there has not been sufficient engagement with the mana whenua of Auckland, of Tamaki, and therefore to put this decision on hold for the time being, pending the information being received by the committee. I'll leave it at that. Safe to say, I'll put a footnote on the paper there, that I have some concerns regarding the way the information has been presented. You've heard this before, but the carbon impacts I don't think are a thorough representation. There's no evidence of how they've been worked out. It's very easy to calculate the carbon impact of boiling some water, but it's not so easy to calculate the carbon impact of manufacturing and transporting chemicals. That's all hidden and again is not in front of the committee. I'll leave it there and welcome any questions.
Kia ora, and thank you very much, and thank you for your letter, as I do have serious concerns around the mana whenua engagement when myself and actually Member Wilson a number of weeks ago asked for further mana whenua engagement, and we were told that would be happening, so we're still, we will be asked officers to explain exactly how that has been undertaken, and I have resolutions, my chair's resolutions, which are different to the what's in the agenda coming up at the item, that I want to encapsulate that before any changes are made across the city. So we've got some other questions from Member Wilcox.
Kia ora, Andrew. I just want to ask, did you speak with whānau at Henderson or Newland?
No, this is coming from the Iraqi body corporate, the Ngāti Whātua Iraqi Trust. So it's based on the governance of Ngāti Whātua Iraqi rather than a detailed whānau consultation. We heard about the proposal on Thursday last week, so it's not terribly long to engage in a widespread consultation.
Okay. So do you have any idea what whānau in Waitakere or at Te Atatu are saying?
No, not at this stage. That is in many ways the whole point.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Kuhn.
Tēnā koe, Andrew. Thank you for coming along today. As the Chair has highlighted, we've got an opportunity now to actually undertake further engagement and actually to look to a decision today where we standardise the budget but continue the conversation about what will actually happen on the ground, and also to reconfirm that we want to move away from agrochemical use and do that in a way that's consistent with the weed management policy. And I just wondered, are you aware of had any previous involvement with the development of the weed management policy?
No, not personally. I should point out that I am here as a last choice, if you like. I wouldn't be the natural spokesperson for Iraqi in this basis. We would have people with more detailed ecological knowledge in particular, but unfortunately they're not available today. So no, I haven't had any personal involvement with the development of the weed policy.
Right. Because that's potentially where we've got an opportunity to ensure that we implement shared goals in terms of the management of the road environment. So thank you for coming along today, but I do think this is the start of the discussion rather than the end point.
Yeah.
Kia ora.
Member Wilson.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
It was a bit of humour around the representation as you present here today, but I think that the question is still valid that I'm posing to you, and that is, when you talk to a lack of engagement, you're talking across mana whenua, or are you talking specifically for Ngāti Whātua Iraqi?
I can only answer specifically for Ngāti Whātua Iraqi. Apart from that, all I have to go on is what's in the committee report, which is that the item was presented to a hui sometime in October, I believe, and it would depend on who was at the hui. So I can't speak on behalf of any other iwi.
So just to confirm, you're encouraging the engagement on behalf of Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei individually?
No, I think, given that we have heard nothing about this kaupapa at all since last week, it's quite likely that other iwi haven't either. So there needs to be a comprehensive engagement of the iwi of Tamaki Makaurau to ensure that everybody has the opportunity to input, yeah.
Excellent, that sounds like across all of the ngā mana whenua Tamaki Makaurau.
I'm
Kia
just
ora.
assuming that if we haven't heard about it, it's quite likely some others haven't as well.
Kia ora. Thank you very much for your presentation, Andrew. And would I have a mover, Councillor Simpson, and Councillor Walker to second? Sorry, Tracy. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Thank you very much for your presentation and for your letter. Yeah. Cool. So we have Kath Handley can't be here yet from the Waiheke Local Board. She will speak at the item on the consultation of hard to recycle plastics and single-use items later on in the day. But now we will have Chair John Gillen from Kaipātiki Local Board to present. So that's the finishing of public forum, and now we're in the local board input section. So thank you.